Hey guys, welcome to the Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Phil here as always. Guys, they've broken the consumer. We're going to get into exactly why that is in this video. So let's dive in.
Trade Genius.
Hey guys, I want to tell you something that we do that really will change the way in which you look at trading and also absolutely help you increase your profitability and how much money you make. It's the Trade Genius newsletter. We put the newsletter out Sunday night through Thursday night, and this really looks at the plumbing of the markets and helps prepare you for the next trading day and help you make money. And we give you a lot of information. We give you market statistics, we give you market levels, we give you the seasonality, what's happening with different sectors of the market, and we will help you identify whether the market's in a bear mode or a bull mode, or whether it's euphoric, whether it's despondent, and it just puts you in a position to be on the right side of the trade. So take advantage of our offer that we have below, and you'll love it. I mean, one trade that you make with this thing can pay for definitely a month, maybe even a year's worth of service. It's that powerful. Use promo code podcast for 15% off the retail price of newsletter. Thanks for listening.
Well, Bob, they've been trying to get this market into a recession, and I think they've got at least one objective out of the way.
Yeah, so they wanted to get asset prices down. They wanted to get unemployment up, but they did the third thing instead. They're going to kill the consumer. So energy is down now. I think is the number one in terms of the worst performance in the last 12 months is energy prices, which means that prices have fallen on the wholesale level. The retail level, not as much because government's been busy adding taxes to that windfall. But nonetheless, it's going to affect what the prices are paid for the consumer. That's good, right? Mm-hmm. Next thing that's good is that I'm going to show you here is rent is about to collapse. That's good, and it's bad because I think what it's going to do now is it's going to dive us into a deep recession and deflation, and I don't think they can fix it so easily because of the just the nature of what they're trying to accomplish. Look at this chart here, Phil. This is month over month increases and decreases in rent.
Wow.
And you can see we kind of peaked out in 2022, mm-hmm. and we've been decelerating ever since. Well, next month we're going to go negative on rents. And I think what you're going to see is because of what's happening in the commercial real estate space, there's a lot of foreclosures happening in multifamily coming up. Mm. The new owners are going to come in at 25, 30, 35% off the old pricing, and they're going to want to fill these places. And you're going to start seeing some absolute bargains in terms of rental income not rental income, but rental prices for people wanting to rent. Now, not everywhere, but in many places, there's going to be too much inventory coming on, and it's all high-end stuff. Here's what I want to show you here, too, is last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about the consumer, how they're maxing out their credit card. Well, check this out. They're dead. Yeah. It's an absolute collapse. First drop in household spending in 2 years. And this is also including the upper income people. So they've been killing the low end for a while. But finally, the upper income people are saying no mas. You know why? They're all losing their white collar jobs now, Phil.
Yep.
And it's going to be a big problem. And these people, they're the ones that spend the things that have higher margins too. And people are going to be going after low margin stuff. So it's going to trickle into the stock market for sure. But it's also going to trickle into the tax revenue for the government. And it's also going to just trickle into the margins that these companies that sell these products make. So this is why I've always been of the opinion that we're going to L-shape this recession. I'm going to throw it back to you.
Yeah, what I like about this consumer credit card data that you dug up was the fact that it's pretty much raw data. It's not subject to whatever finagling that the government does to there's no seasonal adjustment here and any of that nonsense. It's just here it is. And I think one thing I keep coming back to is that when you and I prep for these shows, the data we keep coming up with and reviewing is all just basically recessionary. Like when we look at the historical comparisons, everything, and it's deeply recessionary, not just a little bit, it's deeply recessionary. And so I just, again, I know we've been beating the horse here, the dead horse, but I mean, you can't deny it. So, the question comes up, well, what's taking so long? Like if this thing's really going to roll over, what's taking so long? And you have to just look at to what basically is holding up the market right now, and that is just the liquidity, right? We keep going back to liquidity, and the banks, the banks have been parking more in terms of repos and things like that, overnight repos into basically the Fed's piggy bank. But on net, though, that's been rising, which is a negative effect for the markets. But I think the thing that we're fighting here is the final bullets of Yellen's bank account, right? And she has no other option but to drain that thing. And so she can keep up appearances for like another week or so, maybe, but literally like she's out of bullets. The tax revenue or the tax receipts was not good. It was under par what they thought they were going to get. And this debt ceiling, I mean, we just saw today, McCarthy said there's no headway. They're not making any progress on it. And you and I have been beating the drum that this is probably going to be the first time in a very long time where they don't actually get it done. And like you were saying, that's not like Armageddon per se, but it can create a lot of pain, because you were saying that, and maybe you can expound on that even though they don't meet the X date, they can start shutting down the governments. It doesn't necessarily mean a default, right? They can still finagle interest payments. It's just that, non-essentials, right, are going to be shut down in order to facilitate interest payments. Is that correct?
That's right. So there's a protocol. And so the protocol is interest payments get done first, and then the entitlements get paid second, defense gets paid third. And because the entitlements are on their own budgets, entitlement, and then defense gets paid, Homeland Security. And then after that, it's whatever's left. And it's going to be it's going to be pretty wild here. Now, we've done this 4 other times in the past that we've gone to this point. It's just that this time is a little different because we have absolutely an insane person. And I mean that not pejoratively. I mean that accurately, running the country. And so who knows what he's doing or what he's saying. And the forces that are behind him, we don't know who they are. They may want us to default. So we don't know what Crazy Joe's going to do or say. But in one way, Phil, I hope it happens, because it'll kill the checkbook in the future. And then people are going to really realize, you know what, you had a good thing going here, but you really truly screwed up. But in the meantime, I don't think it'll get to that. But all these people are going to be losing their jobs for the summer. And one thing they've done in the past is they've always allowed these guys, these furloughed workers for the government, to get back pay. Maybe McCarthy says, we're not going to get back pay this time. Mm-hmm. Maybe he needs to put a thing up. Let's see if he really has some stones. Say, hey, no back pay. So you guys figure this out, but there's no back pay. And that's how important it is for us to get this thing right. And I think the market's going to go crazy. But one thing too is that you mentioned before the show to me is that, Airbnb has dropped 30% since their last earnings report, Phil. Unbelievable. And because I think what's happening, all that pent-up demand is now washing through, and people don't have the money. And if you see rents falling, values of properties are falling. People that are renting Airbnb are going to start asking for better deals. Yep. And I think it's going to be a problem. We've already worked up data to show you guys just how screwed we're going to be when Yellen has to go back to the markets. And it's not just her. It's the banks, it's the Fed, it's the government, and her lending is going to be just wait till you see these charts. You're going to want to, instead of that boat to an island, you're going to want to get on space, Elon Musk and head to Mars, because what this guy is showing in his data, basically, Phil, is really, really scary. And so it's baked in the cake. They've already projected it. It's funny that people don't talk about this stuff. Why do we have data that we can share with people that nobody ever talks about? What the government has to borrow in the next 60 to 90 days is mind-blowing. And the liquidity that it's going to suck out is going to be amazing. And so she's going to be broke. We're going to go through this process, and then she's going to make the banks broke, which is going to cause people who own stocks to be broke. It's going to be, I think your timing was right, Phil. I think it's going to be a fall to remember. It's going to be really, really scary. And stay tuned for that one, because you're not going to want to miss it. We got great data points by somebody who does this for a living, and we're going to share that data with you guys.
And we got another one coming up too, Bob. I want to show them what happened with the Dow Jones Industrial and the transports. It's only happened twice since 2010, and it's pretty wild, the results. We'll go over that as well this week. Don't miss that, because that's very important to all of our portfolios here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think I can be more pessimistic. So we haven't seen this wave, like a tsunami. First thing in the tsunami is the big suck out. We haven't seen a big suck out now for 4 years?
Correct.
And I think people have forgotten what it looks like, and it's not going to be pretty. So stay tuned to that. It's going to be really, really good. Eye-opening, but it's going to prepare you. And I have to make some changes to my personal portfolio to prepare for this, because the way I've been leaning, I've been trying to take this thing to the edge of the cliff. And it's not going to be one of those things where you could just like dilly-dally around. You're going to have to be decisive here if you want to save your portfolio. So stay tuned.
100% agree. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Trade Genius podcast. Thanks again for watching. Please hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. Set it to all if you can. And we'll see you on tomorrow's video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.